She doesn't ask for permission. She doesn't wait until she has it all figured out. She moves through setbacks and uncertainty. She rises, she builds, she leads, and she owns her story. This is the Powerhouse Woman Show. Candid conversations with women who are making an impact and owning their story.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Powerhouse Woman Show. I'm your host, Monica Pierre. When it comes to belonging, where do you see yourself? Do you see right where you need to be? You're in the center of things? Or are you close to the circle, but you find yourself never really in the circle or even invited to be in the circle? We have an amazing guest coming up on the Powerhouse Woman Show. LaShawn Johnson is an operations leader. She's a mentor. She's also a best-selling author. And I sat down with her to talk about this whole idea of being invited to whether you need to lead or invited to speak. All of the things where we're waiting for the invitation, waiting to be anointed, appointed, chosen, selected. Well, LaShawn talks about her journey and the evolution of what that has meant. We always like our powerhouse women to give us a little bit of their backstory. It doesn't have to go all the way back to when you were one, but tell us a little bit about you and what makes you such a powerhouse woman.
Well, yeah, I won't go back to when I was 1 year old, but I have been through some things, right? And I grew up. I like to say I was on the edge of belonging. I was the only African American in most of my classroom settings, so I was, didn't really fit in with either crowd. My black peers were like, "Oh, she speaks differently, and she hangs out with the white kids. She thinks she's better than us," and then my white peers were like, "Oh, why is she with us? She doesn't really fit in all the way." That kind of followed me throughout my life. It followed me to college, but even before I got there, I just started trying to be the best version of me. I was like, if I can just be the best, no one will look at me and say, but she's not, right? And so I was really on top of my game. I was at the top of my class, very, very smart, very, very dedicated, very involved. And then I actually went to LSU the year that Katrina hit. And when I tell you my world crumbled, it crumbled. And so I went from the top of my game to like, who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Right. And so I have spent the last, 20 some odd years just kind of finding myself and growing and finding my voice and realizing that I don't have to perform. I don't have to be like the best version of me. I just need to be me. Like I'm enough just as I am. And so if we put it in a nutshell, that's my story.
Well, let's go back just a tiny bit with that story, which is so fascinating. I know a lot of powerhouse women were going like, "Yep, that was me. Yep, that's what I thought." Did it happen because you were at the top of your game, where people started to say, "Welcome, LaShawn, come into our circle, come into our camp"? What was the experience like for you as you excelled and did so well academically, and everything you set out to do was happening the way you thought it should happen?
So may I tell you something, if we're going to be fully transparent here? I was always on the outside. Even when I was excelling, you're still like, I had a seat at the table. I worked myself up from customer service representative to director of tax operations. Like I climbed the ladder and I still was working my behind off, and I had a seat at the table, but I felt like my voice wasn't necessarily always heard, right? I would say things, it's like, "Oh, okay, LaShawn," or "We're going to do X," or I would offer something up and that opinion would be dismissed, but then we'd have meetings later and someone else would have the same idea. And all of a sudden, let's run with that one, right? And so it's not that this problem is solved completely, but I have become more secure in myself. I'm more vocal about things now, right? And so I just call a spade a spade. I'm comfortable in my seat. I know what I know. I know my capabilities. And so I don't need anybody else. I have to prove that to anybody else. I have to let my work speak for itself and stop trying to overperform, you know?
That is such a powerful revelation, again, for a lot of powerhouse women who are in the same situation. And what advice would you give them? Is it, I think Oprah said basically that excellence is the sweetest revenge. I'm just very, paraphrasing it. But when you are excelling, that is revenge itself. So,
Yes.
what advice would you give? What advice would you give them for those who are struggling or finding themselves unable to go farther because they think that they have to keep performing and then they want people to still accept them, and that's not happening?
Well, number one is to exhale because we're running a mile a minute and we can't even catch our breath. And sometimes we don't even realize what's happening. So just take a minute to pause and to steady yourself and steady your breath and realize like what is happening around me. Where do I want to be? And a big thing that a lot of us don't know is like we are in control of our destinies. Like that's our within our control. It's our power to control how we respond to things that are around us. And so we need to take our power back and we need to stop asking other people permission to be awesome. Like we just need to do what we need to do on our own terms and don't be afraid to follow your dreams. Like don't let anyone in these rooms stifle your personal growth, let you think that you're less than. Set your goals and focus on your goals. Block out the outside noise, breathe through it, and just go for it. Just go for it.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. One of the things that we have you on the show today to talk about is your contribution to the amazing 15 of Amazon categories in the release of the ebook. And we're talking about In Relentless Pursuit, the evolution of me. So, why did you say yes to being a part of this anthology?
Because I am working on just being bolder, right? So when Dr. Briscoe brought this idea to me, my initial thoughts were, I can't do that. But guess what I said out loud? Yes, I will do that. We have to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, right? If you do the same things over and over again, you'll get the same results. So I know that this is something that's been a wish list item for me in my back pocket. And so the opportunity was there. I had to seize it, had to.
There must have been something with the project and the direction of the book that really spoke to you. And the second book in this anthology series is The Evolution of Me. And that word evolution, I think, speaks to so many people. What did it say to you? You said yes to the project in general, but I'm sure there were other things that really attracted you as well.
Well, it was so relevant to what I was dealing with at the time. I went from a single a woman to married to a mother of one to a mother of two. All of this was happening during COVID. And I don't know about the rest of you out there, but for me, that was a really trying time personally and also professionally in the line of work that I'm in. The government were changing rules like left and right. We had to keep up with that. So it was really intense. And I was, having my children. And so when you're trying to excel in every different area of your life, like who's perfect, you're trying to juggle all these balls and you're bound to drop something. And so I felt this pull, right? I want to be the most, amazing mom that I can be. Well, if you're doing that, are you giving your all to your career? I want to be the best director I can be. Well, if I'm giving my all at work, am I fully present at home with my children? And so prior to this book, idea coming my way, I was in my own personal evolution. I was realizing, you can say yes to everything, but you really can't say yes to everything at the same time, right? And so I didn't know that at the time. I wasn't operating under that belief system. So I was in my own personal evolution of prioritizing myself, my mental health, my emotional health, my physical health, so that I can be around for my family. And so that is my big driving point, was like, whoa, this is actually relevant. And so I was just head down, working, working, working. Well, opportunities started coming my way and I started saying yes. And so that's a part of my evolution as well. So just a lot was changing in my personal life for the better. And so why not share my experience with others?
So, why did you decide on the focus or the theme or the topic? Because that's always something for people like, what am I going to write about? I've said yes, and I have this whole life or body of work, but what am I going to write about? So, how did you decide on what you were going to write about?
So what I originally put to pen and paper is a part of my chapter, but it is not the the major theme of my chapter. Um, it took a lot of work. It was actually very emotional. It was challenging. It was my goodness, it was cathartic. It was such a wonderful process, but I wouldn't say that I decided this is what I was going to write about. What I will say is, as I put pen to paper and just started talking about different parts of my life where I evolved from one version of myself to the next, the story kind of wrote itself, right? And so you tweak things a little bit. Do I want to speak about that? I really need to talk about this part. And so my story kind of wrote itself because I have had so many different points of evolution in my life. I had plenty to write about.
Oh, that's amazing. What do you hope readers will get out of reading your chapter in particular?
So, my chapter is adjacent to belonging, and I pray that anyone out there who feels like right on the edge of belonging, of being accepted, I pray that my words resonate with you. I want you to feel uplifted. I want you to know that you don't need to wait for anyone to invite you in. You can make room for yourself. You can give yourself permission to be the best version of you. You can prepare room for yourself. You don't need to wait to be invited to be the best version of you. You are in control of your life. So I pray that my story resonates with people. I pray that it inspires them. I pray it helps them to feel seen. We need that sometimes. We just need to feel like we're not alone. Like, oh gosh, somebody else felt that way. What did they do? Did they overcome it? We may not walk the same path, for a very long time, but I do believe we hop on the same path from time to time with others.
What you're saying is so powerful because a lot of times we wait to be asked, we wait to be anointed, we wait to be appointed, all of the things, but we're still waiting and we're no closer to really being in the room that we think we need to be in. So, what about creating your own room and inviting? What do you say about that?
We have to create our paths, right? No one's going to come up to us and say, here you go, Monica, let me give you this lifetime opportunity. That could happen, but it's a 1 in a billion chance, right? You have to do the work. And in order for you to do the work, you need to realize what it is that you want, right? What do you want? Put pen to paper and then start mapping how you're going to get there.
In addition to having the boldness and the courage to say yes and be a part of the evolution of me, the anthology, what else have you learned about yourself throughout this process?
That I'm strong, I am brave, I am compassionate, I am very, very determined. I am just so proud of myself, things that I have been wanting to do for over a decade. I am doing them all and packing them in the last 18 months. And so I actually am capable of doing quite a bit. And I am enough. I am enough.
Right. Well, beyond your professional career, you're really passionate about leadership and personal growth, and also mentorship. We talked about creating spaces. Why are those things so important to you, particularly leadership and mentorship?
We need community. We need examples. I can't even tell you, my mentor, Dr. Briscoe, she really helped. I talked about those paths. I'm so glad our paths crossed because she really helped me to navigate some things differently in my life. Let me be clear. A mentor is not someone to come in and tell you what to do. That is not what that is. It's actually someone to come in and listen to you and challenge you to be the best version of yourself, right? To encourage you to take a chance on you. And so we all need to be good stewards of our gifts, and we need to share our knowledge with other people. We need to lead people down the correct path. We need to open up doors for people when and where we can. And so all of that is involved with community. We need it. And so surrounding yourself with excellent people is so important to me. I think everyone needs to have a mentor, and not even in the field that you're in. It's not about that. You don't need that proximity to it. Actually, it's kind of nice to have someone in a different field because they can give you a whole different perspective on things. And so the world is kind of, it's wild right now, for lack of a better word. And so we need compassion in the world. We need honesty in the world. We need the courage to do the right thing. And so if we surround ourselves with leaders who exhibit wonderful qualities and mentors that push us to be the best version of ourselves, like, we're unstoppable.
And the area of leadership, because oftentimes people think of the person who is the leader, who is the boss, is the manager, but that leadership quality was there long before you got the title, right?
Yeah.
So how do we begin to recognize the leadership that we all possess? Now, whether or not we choose to do anything with it is a different story.
So for me, and ask my team, they may have a different answer, but for
Lead a
me,
team, right?
I don't differentiate myself from the team. I don't have that boss mentality. We are a team. We work together. When everyone works together in sync, ooh, what a beautiful thing it is, right? And so for me, I lead from a place of gratitude, a place of honesty. I give like right away feedback, and it's all about your delivery, right? And so you need to meet people where they are, encourage them to do better. And then when they stumble, like, we're human. And so I relate to people. I tell them, like, hey, I've done something similar in my career. Here's how I bounced back from it, right? And so I just meet people where they are. Always, always, always treat people with respect. And we are all, it doesn't matter what my title, what my salary is. Like, I treat everyone with respect. I treat everyone equally. And so I think that's a part of leadership that is often lost because, the big title comes VP of XYZ, and some people kind of float higher than their team. I personally believe that leaders are nothing without their team.
There you have it. Such great revelations. I took so many notes, but one of the things that resonates with me is that you are enough. I am enough. I don't care what the world keeps trying to tell us. We're enough. And because we buy into what the world keeps saying, we're like that hamster on the wheel. We'll never get there. We'll never be enough if we listen to that. So I'd like to challenge you today, this week, or whenever you see this particular episode. What is it that you want? And that's one of the things that LaShawn talked about, but also, why do you want it? Why do you want to be in the room? Why do you want to be in the circle? And what can you create for yourself? Because now is the time where we don't need to get yes from others. We get it from ourselves and take action on that. So it's up to us to say, if I want to start a podcast, nobody's holding your feet, to the floor or in cement. Start it. You want to start speaking? Speak. You want to start your business? Do it. Now, there's of course planning and all that other things, sure, but the decision is always yours from the very beginning. LaShawn and I talked about the second release of the In Relentless Pursuit series. This one is In Relentless Pursuit, The Evolution of Me. Huge, huge, huge summit and book launch coming up on September 5th in New Orleans in person. You'll get to meet the audience or the authors, but you'll also get an opportunity to be in the room, full day experience. Think of it kind of like sort of a day party meets retreat. It's going to be awesome. So go to www.inrelentlesspursuitofme.com for more information. So do yourself a favor, get to New Orleans, be here for the official launch as well. And finally, I am just fascinated with stories. I've said it before and I will continue to say it because one of the things that people are waiting on is speaking more, sharing their stories, not only with a large audience or maybe a smaller audience, but also sharing it with their customers, putting it on their website, sharing it on social media, but they just don't think they have a story, or they feel the story is not big enough, dramatic enough, or they're afraid of the repercussions. They don't know how much to share of their story. Those are some of the things that we talk about in my program called Storymaker Academy. And the easiest way to get more information is just to go online, www.storymakeracademy.com, schedule a call with me. I'll go through with it with you, and you'll have all of the information. But you're enough right now. Your story is more than enough right now, and now is the time to tell it. I believe that something you heard today is just resonating with you. You're vibrating at a higher level because of what you heard. So take action. Don't let this be, well, that was a nice show. Well, that was a great. That lady, she smiled. She was so nice. I loved the interview with her. LaShawn's great. But hey, it's all about the evolution and the transformation of all of us. Thanks for being with us today, and we'll be back next week on our show, the Powerhouse Woman Show. Go out and be a powerhouse because you are a powerhouse woman. Talk to you next week. Bye bye.